Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. After many months of Israel's assault on Gaza, Israel is now in Rafah. As we know, Israel has told people to move from the north to the central part of Gaza and then finally to the southern part of Gaza. And now Israel is attacking that southern part of Gaza, Rafah. So we want to talk a little bit about the morality of Israel's actions in this war. And with me today is Dr. Shabir Ally. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Let's talk about what Israel is doing, Dr. Shabir. It seems deplorable on so many levels. There are almost no words to describe what's going on to the people of Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that they were told to go from north to the central areas and then down to the south. And then, they were in Khan Yunis and they were being bombarded in Khan Yunis. So that, people went to Rafah and they're being told one after another that go to the next safe zone. But there's no safe zone left. And,
yes.
Rafah is where the border is to Egypt. And it would appear as if people are being herded like cattle towards the Rafah gate, eventually with the hope that they will be pushed out or, with that pressure pot scenario, eventually people will, break through the Rafah gate and then it will become Egypt's problem to deal with. And of course, then the land will be free, but free of people,
yes.
free for, a new level of occupation. So this is all deplorable. And
but of course, Egypt hasn't opened those borders. So people are just stuck there. They're like sitting ducks, really, waiting for something to happen.
Yes, and with 85% of the population being displaced, and most of them now being huddled together in Rafah, you have here a densely populated city, and any assault on that city is definitely going to result in mass casualties.
Dr. Shabir, as you know, my husband, Raed, your son-in-law, has all his family in Gaza, right? So they were all living in the north, right? And many of them moved to the central part of Gaza. Then they moved to Khan Yunis, and then Khan Yunis was assaulted. So now all of the ones who went to Khan Yunis are now in Rafah, right? They're there and they're basically in tents. They had their good homes. Now their homes are all bombed and they're basically in tents on the sand. And it's rainy, it's very cold, so there's a lot of water around, stagnant water. The water comes into their tents because there's no bottom to their tent. So it's a very miserable situation, right? And there's no food either. There's no food, there's not enough water to drink. People don't have appropriate clothing. So as you can imagine, just that humanitarian issue is very pressing. And on top of that, people are being bombed. Right? Indiscriminately. They don't know at what point they will die.
Yes, and to see the immorality of this all, there's an interesting book written by Darrell Cole entitled "When God Says War is Right." And that book is written from a Christian perspective. It's sold, through Christian publishing sources and booksellers. Basically, it gives, a just war theory from a Christian perspective. And one of the principles of a just war is that to go into a war, you must go with the expectation of a reasonable expectation that your objectives are going to be met successfully and that civilians are going to be safe. So, none of this is going to be the case in Rafah. In fact, quite the opposite. If you go into Rafah with guns and bombs, definitely going to kill a large number of civilians. And what is interesting in this respect is that a top Israeli official was asked about going into Rafah, like, what's the plan? How are you going to safeguard the lives of civilians? And he said, we have no plan yet, but if and when the order comes, we will think about a plan. So it looks like they would start shooting and bombing first, and then they would come up with the plan later on. But that's no plan. That's if you really are concerned about saving civilian lives, then you have to start thinking about, like, how do we achieve our objectives without harming civilians. That has to be the master plan from the very start. But from the very start, this was never the plan.
I mean, they referred to Palestinians as human animals. Like, what more could you expect? They have dehumanized Palestinians from the very beginning, right? So if they're not even human beings, it's like, why do we even care what happens to them, right?
Yes, yes. So there are many ways of achieving, Israel's goal of keeping themselves safe and their citizens safe without harming Palestinian civilians. And of course, going in, harming Palestinian civilians, killing the large numbers as they have done, is not going to make Israel safer. In fact, it's going to create a new generation of people who are angry at Israel and who want revenge for these killings. And in fact, it doesn't even achieve their objective of bringing home their hostages safely. Now we're learning that tens of hostages have died during the bombings, and so what's left of the hostages? This is an open question. And and what is interesting is that they killed some of their own hostages. Three hostages were somehow freed, and they came out wearing almost nothing but their underwear, and then waving, white cloths, which is a universal sign of coming in peace and surrendering, and yet they were shot. So that shows that there was no concern for civilian life and the safety of civilians. It is just like a principle of killing whatever moves. So it is necessary that people come back to look at this situation with fresh eyes from a Muslim perspective, Christian perspective, Jewish perspective. Let us go back to our scriptures and see what our scriptures tell us about humanity and about the love for our fellow human beings and the safety that we should ensure for human beings, even if we're not following international law. But we should follow international law because international law is actually a reflection of the morality that is widely recognized across the world. I am disturbed, Safiyyah, by the statement of the Ben-Gvir, who is the national security minister in Israel. He's criticizing Joe Biden for what? I mean, we might criticize him for a number of things, but for what? That Joe Biden is concerned with humanitarian aid getting to the Gazans. So what is it? Like Ben-Gvir is not concerned with getting humanitarian aid to the Gazans? What does the blocking of humanitarian aid have to do with your war objectives? Like, how do you
Well, I saw a former mayor say that, a former Jewish mayor in Israel saying that, look, if we don't give them food, they're going to leave. She said that bluntly to the reporters.
Yeah. So all of this shows that, there are people on one side of the fence who are looking at the Gazans and thinking, okay, they don't deserve any better treatment than, they're being treated worse than animals right now because even animals we would feed. So the world needs to look at the morality of this war and ask, okay, what was the main objective of going into this war in Gaza, and how could that objective have been met without the mass casualties that we now know after the fact? Many of us foresaw it. Some people did not seem to foresee it, but now we see the numbers. And people have questioned the numbers, like, can we believe the Gazan Health Ministry when they tell us this is the number of persons dead? But independent investigations have shown that, done by major news outlets, that in fact, these numbers are dependable. And consistently, war after war, the numbers published by the health ministry have been dependable numbers. So there's no reason for doubting that. And much more is to be said about this, Safiyyah, because as you know, they're only counting the number of persons who were wounded and came to the hospital and died, or, they're found dead as a result of these bombings. There are so many people who are dying from the stressful situation, from disease, from malnutrition, and in so many different ways.
Yes, and there are people under the rubble who aren't counted either,
counted
right?
among the dead, yes, because their bodies have not been found yet.
So, Dr. Shabir, we pray for them. We pray that there will be an end to this soon and that the Palestinians will have freedom and justice.
Ya Rab.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Assalamu alaikum.
We have some exciting news to share with you.
As you know, Let the Quran Speak has been on TV screens and social media for 22 years.
We've been reaching people all around the world, spreading positivity and good, and helping people experience the beauty of Islam and the accomplishments of Muslims.
We've been shooting in this very space for the past 2 decades.
And now, with the help of Allah, we're about to get the keys to Muslim Media Hub.
If you like what we're doing, you're gonna love Muslim Media Hub even more.
Because it's the next step up.
Think new TV shows, podcasts, social media content, and film.
It will have new talent, more youth, and a lot more space and resources to do what we love. Spread the message of Allah.
Our Muslim Media Hub costs $2.4 million.
And for that, we need to raise $300,000. Please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help establish Muslim Media Hub so we can do this.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be of benefit to the Muslim community long after we are gone.
Thank you, and may Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always.
Assalamu alaikum.